I was mid-sentence, my voice steady, commanding the room. 30 execs in tailored suits leaned forward, their eyes locked on my slides, a $50 million, 0 cents contract hanging in the balance. The boardroom at Apex Tech Seattle headquarters hummed with the kind of tension that fueled my career. My pointer danced across the screen, highlighting encryption protocols I'd spent months perfecting. Cybersecurity wasn't just my job, it was my battlefield, and I was winning. Then my phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. The vibration rattled through my bones like a warning shot. "Excuse me," I said, forcing a smile, my heart already pounding. I stepped to the corner, glancing at the unknown number. Probably a client. I'd silence it and move on. But something, call it instinct, call it dread, made me answer. "Is this Emma Harper?" The voice was calm, too calm, like it was holding back a storm. "This is Officer Ramirez, Seattle PD. There's been an accident. Your husband, Daniel, didn't survive. Your daughter, Sophie, is in critical condition at Seattle General. You need to come now." The phone slipped from my hand, clattering on the polished floor. The room spun, faces blurred. Someone, Claire, my boss, called my name, but it was distant, like I was underwater. Daniel, dead. Sophie, critical. The words didn't fit together, didn't belong in my world. I was Emma Harper, 38, cybersecurity expert, wife to a brilliant engineer, mother to a 9-year-old who beat me at chess and laughed like her father. This wasn't my life. I don't remember grabbing my bag or running to the elevator. I don't remember the lobby's glass doors or the rain-soaked streets of downtown Seattle. But I remember the screech of tires behind me as I sped toward the hospital. A black van, no plates, slammed into my rear bumper at a red light. The jolt threw me forward, my forehead grazing the steering wheel. I gripped the dash, heart racing, scanning the rear view. The van's driver, a shadow in a hood, stared back for a split second before peeling away, vanishing into the gray haze. My hands shook. An accident? Or something else? I didn't have time to think. Sophie needed me. Daniel was gone. Seattle General's ER was chaos. Beeping monitors, shouting nurses, the sharp sting of antiseptic. I stumbled to the desk, my voice barely a whisper. Emma Harper, my daughter Sophie, my husband Daniel. The receptionist's eyes softened, and that pity hit harder than the news. She pointed to a hallway. "Trauma wing, Dr. Foster's waiting." I ran, my heels clicking on linoleum, each step a plea. Let Sophie be okay. Let this be a mistake. But when I saw Dr. Abigail Foster, her face told me there was no mistake. She was young, maybe my age, with sharp eyes and a clipboard clutched like a shield. "Mrs. Harper, I'm so sorry. Daniel was pronounced dead at the scene. Sophie's in surgery. Brain trauma, shattered pelvis, internal bleeding. We're doing everything we can." I collapsed against the wall, my knees buckling. Dead at the scene. Daniel, with his warm brown eyes and stupid bridge puns. The man who built blanket forts with Sophie and kissed me every morning like it was our first date. Gone. And Sophie, my fierce, brilliant girl, fighting for her life. I needed air. I needed to scream. I needed someone to hold me together before I shattered. I called my parents. Margaret and Edward Clark, retired, wealthy, always too busy for me. They'd answer. They had to. The phone rang 4 times before my mother's voice cut through, laced with irritation. "Emma, we're at Nathan's engagement party. The caterer's a disaster and I'm juggling 50 guests. Can this wait?" "Mom," I choked, tears burning. "Daniel's dead. Sophie might not make it. I need you." A pause. Party noise, clinking glasses, laughter filled the silence. "Oh, sweetheart, that's awful," she said, her tone flat like I'd told her I lost a client. "But Nathan's fiancé is giving a toast. We'll call later, okay? Hang in there." The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my chest caving in. My parents, who flew to Paris for Nathan's whim but couldn't cross Bellevue for me, chose a party over my world collapsing. I wanted to hurl the phone, to scream until the hospital walls cracked. But I didn't. Sophie was all I had left. I had to be strong for her. Laura Bennett, my best friend, arrived 20 minutes later. She didn't ask questions, didn't hesitate. Her corporate lawyer suit was still crisp, but her arms were warm as she pulled me close. "I've got you," she whispered. She called Daniel's parents in California, arranged for their flights, and bullied the hospital staff into giving me updates. When Dr. Foster emerged, Laura held my hand. "Surgery went as well as it could," Foster said, her voice steady but grim. "Sophie's in a coma to manage brain swelling. The next 48 hours are critical. You can see her soon." I nodded, numb. Laura guided me to a chair, pressing a coffee into my hands. "What happened?" she asked softly. I told her about the call, the van, my parents. Her jaw tightened. "They didn't come? At all?" "Not even a text," I said, my voice hollow. "Nathan's party was more important." Laura's eyes flashed. "Screw them. You've got me. You've got Daniel's folks. We're your family now." But family wasn't supposed to feel like this, like a knife twisting deeper with every breath. I thought of Daniel that morning, pouring coffee, teasing Sophie about her swim meet. "Film my backstroke, Dad," she'd said, twirling in the kitchen. "Wide angle for the race, zoom for the finish," he'd promised, kissing my forehead. Our last moment, so ordinary, so perfect. Now he was gone, and Sophie was a tangle of tubes and bandages. The police report came an hour later, delivered by Officer Ramirez, a stocky man with kind eyes. At 1:42 p.m., Victor Malone, 48, ran a red light at Pine and 4th in a stolen company truck. His blood alcohol level was 0.24, quadruple the legal limit. He hit Daniel's SUV at 55 miles an hour, crushing the driver's side. Daniel died instantly from head trauma. Sophie, strapped in her booster seat, suffered a traumatic brain injury, 4 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and a shattered pelvis. Malone walked away with a concussion. "There's more," Ramirez said, hesitating. "The truck belonged to Cascade Logistics. They're claiming it was stolen, but we're digging. Malone's got 3 prior DUIs. This wasn't his first rodeo." Cascade Logistics. The name hit like a punch. My firm had a contract with them, and I'd flagged their servers for vulnerabilities weeks ago. Was that why the van hit me? Were they covering something up? I pushed the thought down. Paranoia wouldn't help Sophie. I saw her at midnight after they moved her to the ICU. She looked so small, her face swollen, her dark curls matted with blood. Machines beeped, a cruel metronome. I touched her hand, cold and still, and whispered, "I'm here, baby. Keep fighting." No response, just the hiss of the ventilator. Laura stayed until 2 a.m., promising to return. Alone, I sat by Sophie's bed, the weight of the day crushing me. My phone buzzed, a text from Claire. "Contract meetings tomorrow. Your lead. Don't let us down." I wanted to laugh, to scream. My husband was dead, my daughter was dying, and my boss cared about a deal. But Apex Tech was my lifeline, our insurance, our future. I couldn't lose it. At 3 a.m., I went to the hospital locker room to grab my charger. My locker door was ajar, the lock smashed. My laptop, loaded with client data, including Cascades, was gone. My stomach dropped. This wasn't random. Someone knew I was here, knew what I had. I reported it to security, but their shrugs told me it was a lost cause. Back in Sophie's room, I stared at her, the only thing anchoring me. The van, the theft, my parents' indifference, Cascade's truck, pieces of a puzzle I didn't want to solve. But I had to, for Daniel, for Sophie, for the life we'd built in our waterfront home, where Daniel's bridges hung framed on the walls, and Sophie's chess trophies lined the shelves. I didn't sleep. At dawn, Laura returned with coffee and a fierce look. "I called a contact at the DA's office," she said. "Cascades, dodging questions about the truck. And Malone? He's connected to their payroll, not just some rando. We're gonna nail them." I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere. The van's hooded driver, the stolen laptop, Claire's pressure, my parents' silence, and Sophie fighting for every breath. I was Emma Harper, the woman who cracked uncrackable codes, who built a family from love and grit, but now I was a widow, a mother on the edge, and maybe a target. Whatever was coming, I'd face it, because Sophie needed me, and I'd burn the world down before I let her go. The hospital's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, a relentless hum that matched the chaos in my head. Sophie's ICU room was a cocoon of machines, beeping monitors, hissing ventilators, tubes snaking from her tiny body. I sat by her bed, clutching her hand, willing her to squeeze back, to give me a sign she was still in there. It was 6 a.m., less than 24 hours since Officer Ramirez's call had shattered my world. Daniel was gone. Sophie was fighting, and I was alone, except for the ghosts of betrayal and the nagging sense that someone was watching me. Laura had left at 4 a.m., promising to dig into Cascade Logistics' shady dealings. She'd hugged me fiercely, her lawyer's composure cracking. "We'll get justice, Emma. For Daniel. For Sophie." I wanted to believe her, but justice felt like a hollow word when my daughter's chest rose and fell with the machine's rhythm. I traced the bruise on her cheek, a purple bloom against her pale skin. "You're tougher than me, kid," I whispered. "Always have been." My phone buzzed, snapping me out of my haze. Claire again. "Meeting's at 10. You're presenting. Don't flake." I stared at the text, rage bubbling up. My husband was dead, my daughter was in a coma, and my boss thought I'd care about a contract? But Apex Tech's health plan was covering Sophie's care. Losing my job meant losing that safety net. I typed back, "I'll be there," hating myself for it. At 7 a.m., Dr. Abigail Foster swept in, her clipboard a constant companion. She checked Sophie's chart, her expression unreadable. "The swelling's stable," she said, not looking up. "We're keeping her in the coma to give her brain a chance. She's strong, but this is a marathon, not a sprint." "Will she wake up?" My voice cracked, betraying the fear I'd tried to bury. Foster met my eyes, her gaze steady but kind. "I can't promise. But she's fighting. Focus on that." She paused, then added, "You should eat. She'll need you strong." I nodded, but food was a foreign concept. My stomach churned with grief and something else. Suspicion. The van that hit me yesterday, the stolen laptop, the way Cascade's name kept surfacing. I wasn't paranoid. I'd spent years spotting patterns in code, and this felt like a pattern, a dangerous one. I stepped into the hallway to call my parents again, hoping they'd had a change of heart. The phone rang 5 times before Margaret's voicemail chirped. "We're out living life. Leave a message." I hung up, my throat tight. They were at Nathan's engagement party, toasting his fiancée while I sat vigil over their granddaughter. I tried Edward's number, straight to voicemail. I didn't bother leaving a message. They'd made their choice. Back in Sophie's room, I pulled out my work tablet, my backup since the laptop theft. I logged into Apex Tech's secure server, my fingers moving on autopilot. Claire's contract wasn't my priority, but work was a distraction, a way to keep my mind from spiraling. I opened the Cascade Logistics file, the one I'd flagged weeks ago for weak encryption. Something caught my eye. A deleted log from their fleet management system, dated the day of the crash. I recovered it, my heart racing. The truck Victor Malone drove wasn't reported stolen until after the accident. Cascade had lied. Before I could dig deeper, a shadow moved outside the glass door. I froze, my pulse hammering. The hallway was empty, but I swore I saw a figure in a dark jacket, gone in a blink. I locked the door, my hands shaking. Was it the van driver? Someone tied to the laptop theft? I called hospital security, but their response was predictably useless. "Probably a janitor," the guard said over the phone. "We'll check the camera." I didn't believe him. At 8 a.m., Laura returned, her eyes bloodshot but fierce. She handed me a coffee and a bagel I wouldn't touch. "I got something," she said, lowering her voice. "My DA contact says Cascade's been dodging subpoenas for years. Faulty brakes, unpaid fines, and Malone? He's not just a drunk. He's on their payroll as a consultant, whatever that means." "Consultant?" I frowned, my mind racing. "The truck wasn't stolen, Laura. I found a log. They covered it up." Her eyes widened. "You're sure?" "I'm a cybersecurity expert. I don't make mistakes." I showed her the log, my voice steady despite the fear gnawing at me. "This wasn't an accident. It's a conspiracy." Laura leaned closer, her voice a whisper. "If Cascade's hiding this, they'll do anything to keep it quiet. The van, your laptop. Emma, you're a target." I swallowed hard, glancing at Sophie. "They can come for me, but if they touch her—" "They won't," Laura said, gripping my arm. "We'll expose them, but you need to be careful. No more digging alone." I nodded, but I wasn't sure I could stop. Daniel deserved truth, Sophie deserved justice, and I deserved answers. At 9 a.m., I left Sophie with a nurse named Carla, who'd been kind enough to sneak me extra blankets. "I'll watch her like she's my own," Carla promised. I kissed Sophie's forehead, whispering, "I'll be back soon, baby." The Apex Tech meeting was downtown, a 15-minute drive. I had to go, had to keep my job, had to keep us afloat. The rain was relentless, Seattle's signature gray soaking my coat as I climbed into my car. I checked the rear view, half expecting the black van. Nothing, just wet streets and morning traffic. But as I pulled onto I-5, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I ignored it, focusing on the road. It buzzed again, then a text, "Stop digging or Sophie pays." My blood ran cold. I swerved, nearly clipping a truck, my hands trembling as I pulled over. I called Laura, my voice shaking. "Someone just threatened Sophie. Text from a burner." "Stay calm," she said, though I heard her panic. "Forward it to me. I'll get my DA guy on it. Where are you?" "On I-5, heading to work. I can't skip this meeting, Laura. Claire will fire me." "Screw Claire," she snapped. "Your daughter's in danger. Turn around." "I can't," I said, tears burning. "The insurance, it's all tied to my job." "I'll be quick. Just keep Sophie safe." "I'm heading to the hospital now," Laura said. "I'll call security, get a guard on her door. Be careful, Emma." I hung up, forwarding the text. My hands gripped the wheel, the threat looping in my mind. "Stop digging, or Sophie pays." Whoever they were, they knew I was onto them. Cascade? Someone higher up? I didn't know, but I wasn't backing down. The Apex Tech boardroom was a glass cage, all sleek lines and city views. Claire stood at the head, her blonde bob immaculate, her smile sharp as a blade. "Emma, glad you made it," she said, her tone implying I'd already disappointed her. The execs watched me, expectant. I set up my tablet, my mind split between the presentation and Sophie's safety. I was halfway through my pitch, detailing firewall upgrades, when my phone buzzed again, another unknown number. I ignored it, focusing on the slides. It buzzed again. Claire's eyes narrowed. "Problem, Emma?" "No," I lied, my voice tight. "Just a notification." I finished the presentation on autopilot, fielding questions with answers I barely registered. The execs nodded, impressed. Claire clapped me on the shoulder, her grip too tight. "Good work. Stay sharp. We need you on the Cascade breach next." My stomach dropped. "Cascade?" "They're our client," she said, like it was nothing. "Data breach on their servers. Your lead. Report due in 48 hours. I nodded, my mind screaming. Cascade Logistics, The company tied to Daniel's death was now my assignment. Was Claire involved, or was this just a cruel coincidence? I couldn't tell, but the timing felt like a trap. Back in my car, I checked the missed calls. 2 voicemails. The first was from Carla. Emma, Sophie's stable, but someone tried to get in her room. Security stopped them. Laura's here. Hurry back. The second was a distorted voice, low and menacing. You were warned. Next time, we won't miss. I floored the gas, weaving through traffic, rain blurring the windshield. My heart pounded, each beat a prayer for Sophie. The hospital was a fortress when I arrived. Security doubled at the entrance. Laura met me in the lobby, her face pale. It was a guy in a hoodie, she said. Claimed he was family. Security's got him detained. Family, I spat. My parents didn't even show up. Exactly, Laura said. I saw the guy's ID, fake. He's not talking, but I bet Cascade sent him. I ran to Sophie's room, my breath catching as I saw her, unchanged, still fighting. Carla stood guard, her eyes fierce. No one's getting near her, she said. I hugged her, tears spilling. Thank you. Laura pulled me aside. The DA's tracing the burner phone, and I got a lead on Cascade's CEO, Richard Holt. He's got ties to City Hall, buried Malone's DUIs. This goes deep, Emma. I nodded, my resolve hardening. Cascade had taken Daniel, nearly taken Sophie, and now they were coming for me. But I wasn't just a grieving widow. I was a cybersecurity expert, a mother, a fighter. They'd underestimated me, and that was their mistake. That night, I stayed by Sophie's bed, her hand in mine. The rain tapped the window, a steady rhythm against the hospital's hum. I thought of Daniel, his laugh, his blueprints, the life we built. I thought of Sophie, her chess moves, her stubborn streak, and I thought of the shadows closing in. Cascade, the van, the threats. I didn't know how far this went, but I'd find out. For my daughter, for my husband, for the truth. As the first light of dawn crept through the blinds, I made a silent vow. The world had broken me, but it wouldn't break us. Sophie's fight was my fight, and I'd face every threat, every betrayal to bring her back. Cascade Logistics thought they could bury their sins, but I'd dig until I exposed every lie. My parents thought they could abandon me, but I'd build a family from love, not blood. The shadows could chase me, but I'd outrun them because I was Emma Harper. And for Sophie, I'd become unstoppable. The battle had just begun, and I was ready to burn it all down.